This is Chicory, A Colorful Tale. It's my current game of the year. It's very charming, it's adorable, it's engaging, it's just fun to play, and that's all you really need in a game. Chicory, A Colorful Tale is an indie game made by Greb Lobanoff, Lena Rain, M. Halberstadt, Alexis Dean Jones, and Madeline Berger. And this review is going to be split into two sections, mainly because the story is really freaking good in this game, and I don't want to spoil it in case somebody wants to go into the story blind. So the first part is going to be a spoiler-free section where I talk about the gameplay and some other things that are important to the game that you might want to know about before you get into the game. And then the second part is going to be a spoiler-filled section, where I'm going to go in-depth into the story and why I really appreciate it. For people who have already beaten the game or don't care about the story, which you should care about the story, but I'm not your dad, I'm not going to tell you what to do. Anyway, in Chicory, you play as a dog that is named after your favorite food item. In my case, it was chicken when I was playing on stream at twitch.tv/ShackyIsBad. Go check me out, by the way. Haha, shameless plug. And you just take the brush that you're given by the previous wielder, and you have to go in and color the world, because all of the color has disappeared. From a gameplay standpoint, this allows for a lot of interesting puzzles. At certain points in the story, you get the ability to swim through vines, all Splatoon style, and so you have to paint the vine and then go straight through it. At some points, you have to light up caves with the brush, so the brush has luminescent ink, basically, that allows you to see in dark caves and such. That's not the only thing you use the brush for. You also use it to, like I said, color. So you go onto a screen, and, there might not be anything to do on that screen. However, it's all in black and white. So you take your brush and you color it in. You color in the entire screen. You color the trees, you color the ground, you color in houses, you color in benches, you color in fences. Color in the entire screen. And it is surprisingly fun to just color in the entire screen of one area. You can see here I've got this entire, forest landscape with a house in it. So I colored in the house, and I made the trees a specific color. And you can see in this time lapse, which hopefully I timed that right, you get a fall aesthetic so that you can see all the fall trees and stuff. And so it's really fun to just sit here and color. And again, I did this on stream and just spent 5-10 minutes coloring in an entire... It wasn't that long. It wasn't nearly that long. It was, it doesn't take you that long. Hold on. It doesn't take you that long. But my point still stands. It's really fun to just sit there and just color. And that's part of why I really enjoy this game. You don't have to be moving onward to some objective, because coloring in things feels meaningful. You're affecting the world, and that's really interesting. And I'm not really sure I've played a game that allows you to be as creative as you are in Chicory, because the world is essentially your oyster. You can do whatever you want. You can color it with whatever you want. And that's really cool, because not every game allows you to shape the landscape like that, aside from Minecraft, which doing it in that game takes forever, and in Chicory, it's pretty fast, all things considered. That's all I have to say about the coloring aspect of the game, so I wanted to move into the next aspect of the game, which is the collectibles, and Chicory has several collectibles that you could find. It's got litter, which you find throughout the world, and you clean it up, and it's used as a currency to buy things in certain places. You have the lost children who are hiding in trees, and you have to color the area that they're hiding in, and it'll pop out, and then you can pick it up. And you use those children, actually, mainly to get decor, and that allows you to spruce up an area with special furniture, and allows you to create cooler-looking areas. If you saw earlier in that time-lapse, in my little autumn forest area, those items that were sitting out on the ground were actually decor that I got from turning in the lost children. So the decor allows you to do a lot of things, and there's also sections where you have to use it to, create a beach party or create a rooftop party and stuff like that, and people will actually come and interact with the items that you've put down. And they'll say, hey, look at this cool tent that you've got sitting down here. It's super cool. Also, by the way, I learned that the tent actually has an interior from the main developer tweeting about the game on his Twitter in a giant thread talking about the game, so that was super cool to find out. Then there's also the clothing options. These are mostly found in gift boxes around the world, and you just pick it up and you can put it on, and it's super cool. There's a bunch of different options. My favorite option that I was wearing when I beat the game was the wielder cloak and a pair of glasses, because I wear glasses in real life. I thought it'd be cool to have that, but there's a bunch of stuff. There's clown makeup, there's a robot costume, there's a bunch of really cool stuff in the game to allow you to customize your main character, whatever you name them, chicken or pizza or whatever. That's all I had to say about the collectibles in the game, so I want to move onward to the music, and I have nothing I can say that no one else has already said. Lena Raine is just a master at crafting music. She is just so fucking good at making music for video games. It is insane. She's made the soundtrack for Celeste. She's made the soundtrack for some of the Minecraft stuff. Like, she made Pigstep, man. She's just so fucking good, and she just kicks it out of the park with this soundtrack. It's so fucking good. You've heard some of it in the background, and there's like this calm, like, background music type of tracks that you play like while you're walking around. But then there's also like boss fight music, which I'll play a little bit of right here. And then there's like the endgame music, which is really good. I'm not gonna play it here because, you know, we're not at that point of the spoiler talk. And as soon as I move into spoiler talk, I'll get back into the endgame music that I really like. But there's nothing I can say other than Lena Raine is just a fucking master, and any music that she produces is going to be fucking perfect. Just perfection incarnate. It's fucking crazy. I listen to this shit in the car. It's ridiculous. I just listen to Celeste music and specifically the Nether update music, and I'm adding this to my playlist too, because I just want to listen to it all the fucking time. Anyway, that's enough of me gushing about the amazing fucking soundtrack. I'll leave it at that. Alright, now I want to get into a spoiler-free part of the story, just to explain the premise and to get some thoughts out on why I like it without going into spoilers, because the story is a real big part of why I like this game, so I want to go into that. Anyway, so you start and you're cleaning up the Wielder Tower, and you're like, oh no, the color all disappeared. Because for some reason the color disappears, and you don't know why at this point. And so you come out of the room that you're cleaning to be like, Chicory, I think I got rid of the color. I cleaned too hard in this room. So you come out, but you find the brush, and Chicory's nowhere to be found, and you're kind of like, huh, that's a little weird. But everybody's probably freaking out because the color is gone everywhere. So you're like, I guess I should take up the brush and try to go help people. And so you steal the brush. You don't ask for Chicory's permission or anything, and you just take it, and you just go and you go out into the town, and people are like, Jesus, the color's gone. Oh, Lord, help us. And so you come and you help them, and you fill it back in their houses with color, and like the ground has color in it and whatever. So then you meet the wielder before Chicory, and Chicory's the current wielder, and the wielder before Chicory was named Blackberry, and you talk to Blackberry, and Blackberry's like, did Chicory give you that brush? And you're like, yeah, because I'm fucking dope, but Chicory didn't really give you the brush, you're just an asshole who stole it. And so Blackberry's like, shit, we're really in trouble, because Chicory just fucking gave you the brush and was sick of this shit, so we're in a lot of deep shit. And so you have to go through the Supper Woods, which has one of my favorite color palettes in, like, the entire game, I think. I can't think of one that I like better than it. It's like the red and the orange and the yellow and the purple. And so yeah, you're going through this forest, and eventually you get to the end, and there's this, like, fucking spooky-looking tree, and you're like, that's kind of fucked. But you go in anyway, because, like, you know, it's a video game. You gotta go run into danger. You're not actually in danger. It's just a character, and so what does the fuck it matter? Anyway, so you go in, and Blackberry's in there, and it's like, this is, like, the corruption, and yada yada, and this is why everything's going black and white, and all the colors disappearing. And so Blackberry is basically like, you're gonna have to fucking fix this, and that's as far as I'll go, because then you get into spoiler territory, and I don't want to get into spoiler territory. Can you tell I did this all with no notes? I guess this is a good time to mention that. There's been no notes. I have, like, a bullet list, but other than that, I don't have a script, so I'm kind of just, like, spitballing here. So if anything sounded a little awkward, that's why, because I'm not actually got anything to, like, go off of as a script. Anyway, that's not important. So I really like the story because it deals a lot with depression and anxiety and imposter syndrome and like feeling like you're not worth enough as an artist or feeling like you're not good enough and like everybody's looking down on you. And I feel like it raises some interesting questions and, you know, gives a lot of insight to how it feels to be a creator sometimes because, I mean, shit's kind of fucking tough. An art creator, not like a video creator or whatever, although I'm sure some of it moves into video creation as well, but I mean just specifically from the standpoint of an artist. But anyway, that's as far as I'll go into the story for that. I really like the story, I really like the characters Chicory and Chicken, or Pizza, or whatever you call your main character. Chicory and your main character have a really good dynamic where they help each other a lot with their problems, and yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about the spoiler-free section of the review. So if you want, skip to whatever timestamp I put up on the screen right now that shows when I'm no longer talking about spoiler-free stuff and I'm just wrapping up the video. And you can do that now, and I'm going into spoiler stuff now. Yay! Alright, first of all, here is like the end credit music thing that I really appreciated. I'm only going to play a little bit because you can find the entire soundtrack for this game on Spotify and YouTube and several other places. So you can just go listen to the whole thing if you want. So I'll only play like a 5 or 10 second clip of this, and it's going now.
Standing on the mountain top, the world looks very small. They're watching me, but they can't see how scared I am at all.
And it really just wraps up the story very nicely. It explains how Chicory and your main character both felt like kind of in the middle of the story, basically, and I guess how Chicory felt at the beginning of the story when she was very depressed and didn't want to be the wielder anymore, basically, because she didn't think that she was nearly as good as she used to be, or was believing that the things that she had made weren't nearly as good as they were, and, you know, stuff like that. But you go from that to this really triumphant, like, yeah, I do know what I'm doing, and I don't need other people to tell me that I know what I'm doing, because I know what I'm doing. So anyway, that's just something I really appreciated about the song, and you actually hear this song twice. You hear it once at the wielder trial. You climb a mountain, like Celeste style, and you get to the top, and then you have to sing, and they're making up the song as they go, which is part of, like, you know, they say, I don't remember specifically the lyric. It's like, when are they going to realize I'm making it up as I go? You know, so they personally believe that they're a fraud and that they're a failure or whatever, and that everyone believes that they have a plan, and they really don't. They're just kind of going with the flow and seeing what happens, and that everyone's going to kind of believe that they're a dipshit, basically, or a fraud, like imposter syndrome. So yeah, I really thought that was a good beat, a good narrative beat, because of just how the story had gone, and the fact that it's the end credit song actually has the lyrics that they sing really ties it all together. I'm not sure if it was the end credits. It was something at the end of the game that, like, it literally had me shocked. I was like, shit, that's fucking crazy. So anyway, I'm going to get more into the story. So after you fight the corruption in the forest, you take the brush back to Chicory. Blackberry's like, you have to take that shit back to Chicory because you stole it, because you admit that you stole it. And Blackberry says, you know, take it back. And so you go back to Chicory, and you're like, hey, I'm sorry, I stole this. I just wanted to help people. I didn't see you around, and your door was locked, so I was kind of like, I'm just gonna go and try to help people. And Chicory's like, no, it's okay. I didn't want to be the wielder anymore. I'm real depressed right now, so you can just take it. I'm not even gonna fucking deal with it. You just take it. And so you're like, okay, I'm gonna be the best wielder ever, and I'm gonna make you proud, and yada yada. But then you get to this point where the main character is like, I don't really feel like I'm nearly as good as Chicory was. And if Chicory was as good as she was, and she felt like she was doing terribly, I'm also doing pretty terribly. Because I'm doing way worse than she was. And she was cool, and I'm just, some nobody. I was a janitor, so what do I know? And so it's a really interesting dynamic that they work with there, and I really appreciate it. And, like, when you're doing the wielder trials, this is towards the end of the game, but when you're doing the wielder trials, Chicory is kind of like trying to help lift you up, basically, saying like, hey, none of us know what we're doing. None of us had any plan, and she's kind of realizing this for herself, but also trying to tell Chicken like, hey, none of us have had a plan before. So the fact that you don't have a plan is really not that big a deal, because we all were kind of just making it up as we went along. And so the fact that you're doing what you're doing right now, after being this nobody, is, really fucking cool. You're basically a badass. And so Chicken and Chicory both have this, like mutual respect for each other, basically, towards the end of the game, where Chicory's like, you're a fucking badass, and Chicken was like, I've always thought you were a badass, but now, like, that you're helping me, you're an absolute fucking badass. You're super cool. And I really appreciated that dynamic that they had. And if you showed up for any of my streams, or if you go watch a VOD, which I don't know how long it'll be up, because VODs on Twitch work weirdly, but if you look at the VOD, I really enjoyed voicing specifically those two characters. I had a voice that I had for Chicory, which was, kind of low and low energy, and was like, I'm not a super fan of my life. And then Chicken, most of the time when I was talking as Chicken, I was like, I raised my pitch, and, oh, I'm gonna be the best wielder there ever was. And, I had a good time voicing the characters, and I'm considering doing, like, a whole voiceover thing where I go through and voice over the cutscenes. I don't know. Just a fun idea that I had while I was on stream, spitballing the lines, basically. But yeah, the story is really good, and it ends with you basically dismantling the whole system of passing the brush from wielder to wielder, because the people realize that the brush was the source of the corruption, because at one point you fight yourself, and then at another point you fight Chicory, two people who've had the brush, but then at a third point you fight Blackberry, and so you're like, hold on now, we thought this was just me and Chicory going on, like, causing all the problems, but it's actually also Blackberry was causing problems, so it has to just be the brush is the problem, and so you dismantle the whole system of passing down the brush, and you give the ability for everyone to make color, and that's a really cool fucking way of doing it, of ending the story, because now everyone can be the colorful person, and everyone else can decide, what colors they want their houses to be, and what colors they want their areas to be, and stuff like that. So I really thought it was a cool way to end the game. And that's the end of my spoiler talk, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video with my final thoughts right now, and the spoiler-free people are coming back now. But yeah, overall, the gameplay being as fun as it is, and the story about the struggles of an artist, specifically paired with the gameplay being about making art and coloring back in the world, I think meshes together really well. And I guess that's it for the review. Chicory might be my game of the year, unless something comes out that really fucking blows this shit out of the water. And if you want more reviews like this, I guess put it down in the comments below, because, like I said earlier, I had no script. I just had kind of a list of things I wanted to talk about, and this is much easier to make than the no script game talk that I did, even though the no script game talk is really enjoyable because you just sit down for an hour and talk about a video game. This was sitting down for 20 minutes and talking about a video game, and I believe people are more interested in watching a 20-minute video versus a hour-long video, but that's whatever. So yeah, if you want more reviews like this, put it down in the comments below, and that's it from me. So, bye! I still don't have an outro. I should get an outro. Yeah, anyway, bye!